Hi, welcome to the Joyful House and welcome to Craft Table Talks. My name is Cynthia with Cynthia's Joyful Creations, and I'm glad you're here. Week after week, we are going to learn and explore new things in the craft of crocheting and knitting. I encourage you to ask questions or suggest topics that you would like to discuss or research further. Our time here around the craft table, it is for everyone, beginners and seasoned crafters. I am dedicating this time around the craft table to my sister Missy, who let me know that she was interested in learning how to crochet and knit. So I thank her for inspiring me to share what I can and bring some yarny inspiration and joy to you and all those who want to learn and refresh. So if you're ready, come join me for today's Craft Table Talks. Hello, welcome to the Joyful House and welcome to Craft Table Talks number 9. My name is Cynthia with Cynthia's Joyful Creations, and I will be your host around the craft table today. As we spend time around the craft table, we're going to learn what is a triple or treble crochet and how to make one. So before we get started, let's take a look at the outline that we have for today's table topic and go over that before we jump into what is a triple crochet. As you can see on the outline, we are first going to talk about our table topic. How do you make a triple crochet? That is what you will learn today. Then we're going to look at the abbreviation for a triple crochet, the introduction to a triple crochet. Then we'll go over to the craft table where we'll do some table magic and we'll learn how to actually make the triple crochet. And then we'll review the turning chain, and then we will conclude with table chatter. Table chatter is an opportunity for you to have an interactive engagement with this segment of Craft Table Talks. It usually consists of a joke, a word, or a statement. And whatever it is, I will encourage you to interact with me by leaving a comment at the bottom of this live in the comment section. And if you do, it will help you earn some extra entries on our Tea Party giveaway wheel. If you're new here and you're not sure what that Tea Party giveaway wheel is, well, when you leave a comment, ask me and I'll be happy to answer it. Well, if you're ready, let's get started and talk about how to make a triple crochet stitch. Before we head over to the craft table and actually learn how to make the triple crochet stitch, let me first share a couple things with you. The abbreviation for a triple crochet stitch in the United States is TR. In the United Kingdom, it is DTR. The DTR simply stands for double treble crochet. Now, you'll find that many people will refer to the stitch as the triple or the treble crochet stitch. It is one and the same. I've done research to try and discern if the difference in the name has to do with the location or country in which it is coming from, and there is no research to back that up. So some just refer to it simply as the triple or the treble crochet stitch, but it is the same stitch. Technically, TR does stand for treble, but more times than not, you will hear people refer to it as the triple crochet stitch. I personally do refer to it more as the treble crochet stitch, but there again, it's probably coming down to more of a preference. So let's talk about the introduction to our triple crochet stitch or treble crochet, whichever you prefer. It's worked very similarly as the double crochet in the fact that it starts with a yarn over. The double crochet that we talked about and learned about in our last time together in Craft Table Talks number 8, you yarn over and then you insert your hook into the next stitch to begin creating the double crochet. With the triple or treble crochet, you actually yarn over twice. So therefore, you technically have 3 loops on the hook before you ever begin entering into the next stitch to create that stitch. So what is the real purpose of a treble crochet? Well, first, it adds more height to your project, to each and every row that you're using it on. But it also gives this light, airy, open type of fabric. This is really great for summer garments. It's great for a lacy looking shawl. It's also used to create a ruffle or ripple border or a ripple project. It also allows you to work up your projects very quickly. Because the stitch is so tall, it allows your row height to increase substantially, so you do not have to do as many rows in your project to get from start to finish. So the treble crochet actually adds a very flexible and beautiful drape to your work. With all of that being said, you're not going to know what it looks like until we jump in and start working on it. So if you will, go ahead and join me over at the craft table. We will go ahead and learn how to make that triple or treble crochet stitch. See you at the craft table. Welcome to the craft table. As you can see, I have a foundation chain already made. If you are joining us for the first time or you are new to crochet and you've never made a foundation chain, please go check out our Craft Table Talks lesson number 4. It talks about what a foundation chain is and how to create one. Before you here, I have a foundation chain with 14 chains on it. That's what we're going to need to successfully make a row of 10 treble crochet stitches. Before we get started, I want to just share that from this point on, we're going to refer to this stitch as the treble crochet stitch. But I am curious to know if you are not a beginner and you've crocheted before, what do you prefer to call this stitch? Do you call it the treble crochet or do you call it the triple crochet? If you're new and you're not really sure because you're not really familiar with this stitch and you're just learning it for the first time, just let me know which one sounds better or easier for you to identify this stitch with. I'll be curious to read all of your comments below. But again, going forward, we're going to refer to this as the treble crochet stitch. Now, just like the half double and the double crochet, you will need to yarn over before starting the stitch and inserting it into a chain. With the treble crochet, you actually have to yarn over twice, and that will give you 3 loops on the hook. But before we get this far, let me just take a moment and put on the screen a chart reminding you how many chains are needed to begin the treble crochet stitch. And as you can see from the chart, you need a chain of 4. So when we look at our foundation chain, remember the loop on the hook never counts as a chain and it never counts as a stitch. So we've got to count 4 chains away from the hook for our beginning chain. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is going to be our beginning chain. And you can see that that creates a rather long stitch with quite a bit of height. So we need those 4 chains to get started. So that means we're actually going to work our first stitch into the 5th chain from the hook. So let's get ready to do that. Again, we've got to yarn over twice. Remember to always yarn over from the back to the front. And we've got to complete this 1 and 2 times. Again, a reminder that you will now have 3 loops on the hook. 1, 2, and 3. All right. Then you're going to, again, insert your hook into the 5th chain from the hook. So let's count that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to insert our hook right into this 5th chain from the hook. All right, we're then going to yarn over and pull that loop through. And the best way to do that is turn your hook counterclockwise and pull it through. When you do, you now have a total of 4 loops on the hook. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to yarn over again from back to front, and you're going to pull through the first 2 loops on your hook. And when you do that, you now have 3 loops on the hook. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through the next 2 loops on the hook. And when you do that, you now have 2 loops on the hook. 1, 2. To complete this treble crochet stitch, you're going to yarn over a 3rd time. There's your treble, your 1, 2, 3, and you're going to pull through the remaining 2 loops on the hook. And when you do, you now have 1 loop. So you go from 4 loops to 3 loops to 2 loops to 1 loop. And you have successfully created your first treble crochet stitch. Now that chain 4 is going to count as your first, so this is technically the second in this foundation chain, or your first row. Now I know this chain 4 looks really sloppy, but when we come and work into the top of that chain 4, it will straighten your work out. Now, just a reminder that as you're working your first row or your foundation chain, oftentimes you're going to find yourself turning your work vertically, working from top to bottom. But remember, technically you are working horizontally from side to side. But since there's not a lot to hold on to, oftentimes this first row is kind of done at a vertical angle. But let's make another treble crochet. So again, we're going to yarn over twice. Remember to go from back to front. So 1, 2, 3 loops on the hook. We're going to insert into that very next chain. We're going to yarn over and pull that loop through. So we now have 4 loops on the hook. And you want to kind of pull that loop through so it gives you the height of the stitches you've already created. Okay? So see how I've got quite a bit pulled out here compared to these loops? That's okay. It's going to work itself out. All right, so then yarn over, pull through the first 2. 3 loops are now on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the next 2. 2 loops are on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the last 2. And you've created another treble crochet. Let's do it again. Yarn over twice. Remember, coming from back to front. Insert into the next chain. Yarn over. Pull up that loop and pull it all the way up. 4 loops are on your hook. Yarn over. Pull through the first 2. 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the next 2. 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the last 2. Perfect. You've made another treble crochet stitch. Now, I did do this one very loosely because I wanted you to be able to see it step by step. But this is what we would refer to as tension. If you look at the different stitches, you can see that this stitch has a little bit more tension. This one is a little bit looser than this one, and this one's definitely looser than that one. But for now, this is okay. Tension doesn't matter because we're just trying to learn the steps of creating the treble crochet. But when you're working on a project, you do want to be mindful of your tension and try to keep it the same. Otherwise, your project is going to have kind of this, floppy moppy look to it. All right, I am going to pull that out and redo that now that you've kind of got the steps down, and try to keep our tension the same. So again, we're going to loop over twice or yarn over, and then we're going to insert back into that stitch to redo this one, yarn over and pull up your loop. 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2. Yarn over, pull through the next 2. Yarn over and pull through the last 2. And there's your treble. Let's do it again. Yarn over twice, insert into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through the next 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2. And you've created another treble. Let's go ahead and work that all the way across our row. Up. Got to yarn over twice. And let's do the next one. And you can already see, compared to the other stitches we've done, this height, you're definitely working this stitch and your project a lot quicker than you would using the other stitches. All right, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more to go. So let's go ahead and make those. And if I'm going too fast at this point, then just rewind and practice with the first few where we went a little bit slower. Again, you yarn over twice, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, 4 loops are on the hook, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the next 2, yarn over, and pull through the last 2. We've got 1 more chain left, so let's make our last treble crochet. All right. And that completes our first row of treble crochets. So we have worked up 10, and then our chain 4 should be 11. So we should have 11 treble crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right, let's work the second row. So again, remember, we've got a chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4 to create that turning chain. Remember to always turn your work towards you. And now, because this chain 4 counts as a treble, that means this chain or this stitch already has a treble crochet in it. So we're going to go to the next one and work our treble crochet. And there we have our second treble. Now, I've shown you when working the single, the half double, and double crochet that when you do a turning chain, it creates a very big gap in your work, much bigger than what the stitch itself creates. And so this creates a really big hole. This is a preference. How we've done it is the correct way to do it. But my preference is, and again, this will come down to a preference for you as you're learning. Let's go back to the end of our first row before we do any turning chains. And what I like to do is chain one just to give my stitch a little bit of height, turn my work, and then actually work into that first stitch. The way I like to look at these stitches as homes, and we're going to put a crochet family into each one. The reason that such a big gap is created is because when you create the chain, you're actually creating the chain on the side of the stitch. You're not actually working in the stitch. I like to work into the stitch so that my space is no bigger than what it should normally be. So let's go ahead and work our treble crochet into this actual first stitch or crochet home. And once I finish this, you'll see that the hole, or the space is what it's actually referred to, is not near as big. Look at that. Much, much better. Now look at it to the next stitch once we create it. Much better, and it looks normal. It looks the same as the ones made below, and you don't have that big gap that you have with that chain 4. Again, that is just a preference. Either way is correct. You just have to do which one works best for you. Now, I'm going to go ahead and work treble crochets all the way down this row so that I can create a swatch. Because as I have done in the last couple times we've been around the craft table, I like to show you the difference in working the same amount of rows for the swatch and showing you the difference that the height of the stitches make when it comes to your project. And I was talking and not paying attention on that one. When I get to the end of this row, I am going to pause it for a moment and work one more row so that our treble crochet swatch has 3 rows, just like our slip stitches and our single crochet and our half double and our double crochets. And then we will show all of those together. And then I'm going to come right into the top. So on this last stitch on the second row, this was our beginning chain 4 of the 4 chains that we skipped at the beginning. We were going to just work right into the top of that 4th chain to create this last stitch. And I'm just having to wiggle my hook in there, and that is normal. And sometimes that has to do with your tension. I'm a tight crocheter. All right. I'm going to pause again and create one more row real quick, and then we'll come back and compare our swatches together. All right, so here is our finished swatch of the treble crochet with 3 rows completed. And now let me bring in these other swatches so you can see. This is our slip stitch compared to our treble. Again, each has 3 rows of their individual stitches, but what a difference that stitch makes in height. That just swallows this slip stitch up. Now let's bring in our single crochet. And even with our single crochet of 3 rows versus our 3 rows of treble, big difference. All right, now let's bring in our half doubles. And there is the difference between 3 rows of half doubles and 3 rows of our treble. And then our final swatch is our double crochet. So you can definitely see the difference these stitches make in height. And also you can see that the larger the stitches, there's a lot more space in between the stitches than with our tighter stitches. But this is our 5 basic crochet stitches. You've got your slip stitch, your single crochet, half double, double, and treble. All right. Well, that again is our basic 5 crochet stitches. You should now be able to successfully start making things. We are going to have one more craft table talks before we start trying to actually make something here at the craft table. We're going to come back next time and talk about gauge of your projects and what that means. I'll explain in detail what gauge means, why it's important, and how working up swatches, this is called a swatch, what we've done. This is not our actual project. This is just a swatch that we've made of the stitches. Again, a swatch is really good, and we'll talk about this more next week, is really good for determining, first off, the project you're making, how big you want it, so that will determine like the hook size you use, how many stitches to get the actual width you're looking for, or the actual length that you're looking for. That's what a swatch will do, and your gauge will help you determine that. But again, we'll go into more detail with that the next time we are together. Well, that wraps up our time here at the craft table. Well, thank you for spending time with me around the craft table today. I hope you have enjoyed the treble triple crochet stitch, found it easy to execute. As you can see, not only did it provide fun and height to our project today, but it is a very easy stitch to do. Also easy in the fact that as you create the stitch step by step, you can see more of your work and what you are doing. Well, you have now learned the basic 5 stitches of crochet, the slip stitch, the single crochet, the half double, the double, and now the triple. With that being said, we will come together next time and we're going to learn what is gauge and why is it important when it comes to our projects. And then after that, I hope you will come back and join me because we're actually going to make something together and execute all the stitches that we've learned for a fun little project. All right. Well, stay tuned for table chatter. There's a joke in there for you, and then there is a question for you to answer. And once again, if you participate and leave a comment in the comment section, then you will earn some extra entries on the Tea Party giveaway wheel for this month. Until next time, be joyful, stay crafty in your own way, make your own joyful creations, and find your joy daily. And I'll see you next time. Bye!